I'm of the mind that money should not get in the way of you being happy. Unfortunately, many times it does. Many times it creates a lot of conflict at home. And I want to give you an example of how that played out in my own life and what my wife and I have done about it, and so that it might help you. Before I get started, I just want to tell you something. As a result of watching this video and doing the exercise that I'm going to share with you, you should be able to stop arguing with your partner or spouse about money. But this exercise is not meant to manipulate that person into adapting or adopting your goals and values. It's really geared to helping you both find common ground. So please understand that if you're trying to get someone else to come over to your side of the street, it's probably not going to work. You've got to be open-minded, and hopefully your counterpart will be open-minded as well. Okay, so first some background. As you know, if you've read my story, I grew up with a lot of financial insecurity. Both my parents passed away. I had to find my own way financially, and I lived with a lot of fear even after I started creating my own financial security. I still lived in that box in jail of financial fear. My wife, on the other hand, didn't grow up with the same circumstances, fortunately. She had her own upbringing that created other pressures, and she learned about finances, very different lessons. And she was more of the mind of, let's really just be present and let's enjoy life now. Now, she was not a spendthrift. She isn't a spendthrift, but she's very focused on enjoying life today. That's a very good attitude to have in balance. I was all about the future. She was all about the present. That was the nature of the conflict. So that's point number one. How did we resolve it? I'm going to tell you what we went through, and then I want, at the same time, you to consider going through the same exercise. Hopefully, again, your financial counterpart is watching this video with you. If not, make sure that they see it at some later point. Okay, so the first question that we ask ourselves is, what's important about money to us? So if I ask you that question, what's important about money to you? You might say, well, I want to have security. I want to take care of my family. I want to enjoy my life. Whatever it is, what's important about money to you? When we asked ourselves that question, we came up with, again, taking care of having security, taking care of the family, and enjoying our lives too. And in that order, that was the order in which we came up with it. So what's important about money to you? Be very clear, write it down. And again, have your counterpart write down what's important about money to them. And this is not joint homework. You've got to do it separately and keep your answers apart for the time being. We're going to come back to bringing you together. Now, the next question is, how are you living financially? Are you living in a way that's consistent with your goals? For example, if I say that what's important about money to me is having security and taking care of my family and living in the present. Okay, well, let's look at the first issue. Having security. If I'm hoarding all my money, I do create some security, but I also create lots of misery for my family, and I'm not having any enjoyment. So maybe I'm a little bit overboard, and I can see through this context of what's important about money to me, these three things, I can then see where I'm a little bit out of kilter. My wife, when you ask her what's important about money, and she says, well, what's important about money is security, and she sees that, hey, we're not really putting anything away for the future for our security, she can see that maybe she needs to move a little bit off of where she is. Give you an example. If you say that what's important about money to you is security, and yet the way you're living is you're spending money on fast cars and great vacations, and you have credit card debt, etc., you can see that the way you're living isn't consistent with your values. So the bottom line is, what I want you to do is separately go through what's important about money to you, and then write down how you're living financially. The third thing is, what's out of balance? That's the third question. What's out of balance? And then the fourth question is, what are you willing to change so that your financial behavior is more in line with your values? So again, write down what's important about money to you, write down how you're living that's both consistent and inconsistent with those values, okay? What's out of kilter, what needs to change, and what you're going to do about it. Once you've done that individually, come together and discuss it with your other half. And I'm convinced that this will dissipate most, if not all, of your financial struggles now, or financial conflicts. Now, you're going to forget. You're going to forget. That is normal, okay? Because you've been living a certain way financially for many, many years, and these are new concepts, possibly. So what I want you to do is keep this exercise handy and have those 4 questions written down and review it once a month to make sure that your monthly behavior, you're not slipping back to the old behaviors, that you're still consistent with, oh, I was a little bit off here, I'm going to get back online because it's more consistent with my values. Don't beat yourself up if you stray a little bit and go back to your old evil ways. That's only normal, it's only natural. But do this exercise, schedule it now to do it once a month. Let me know if it's effective, how it's effective, and what your results are. Thank you.